Hello and welcome to the Last Word on Spurs. We hope you're keeping very, very safe and well. Thank you so much for joining us on the back of a thumping Tottenham Hotspur win. If you're listening to the show for the first time, you can find us on iTunes. We're on Spotify, we're on Audio Boom. We're across a range of different audio platforms. We're, of course, on Twitter at Last Word on Spurs. We're on Facebook and Instagram too. And you are joining us for live reaction also on YouTube to Tottenham Hotspur beating Everton by 5-0. What an emphatic scoreline at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I'm joined by returning guests on the Last One on Spurs, driving our crazy train. We've got Lee McQueen in the house. Lee, how are you on the back of that?
Double Rickies. I mean, talk to me. And we've got Ricky Bentrinker that was on the pitch tonight, who, by the way, was magic to watch. Yeah, really, really good, mate. It is a crazy train. I can't believe it. You know, 2 Premier League games, 9 goals, none conceded. Absolutely mental, but sandwiched between that, we go out of the FA Cup. I mean, you couldn't make this club up, could you, at some stage? Just when you think you ain't renewing your season ticket, when Mr. Levy and the board put that email out to you, we're going to smash this lot 5-0. I mean, and where shall I sign, Mr. Levy? Where shall I sign? So, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it. And look, I'm not getting carried away, but the way the season's gone so far, you kind of have to celebrate the wins because you know just round the corner is a bloody another defeat. So you may as well celebrate the wins. And look, was we absolutely outstanding tonight? Everton were poor, Tottenham were good, and we won 5-0. And you know, to be fair, I said to Ant in the group, didn't I? I said, "Oh, we need to win well on Monday." And he's like, "Yeah, like a 3-0." I was hoping like a 5-0. And he's like, "Oh, go and drink some more of that neck oil." Well, maybe I should because it was 5-0. Went? Do you get me?
Absolutely. Also excited him back on Last One on Spurs. Isn't it nice having him on after a back of a wing? Because I feel like since he's been on, since we had the Conte appointment, which Rick did bring the champagne out, he's had some real horrendous shows come back for. So he is determined to come on for a win. We've got him back for a win. We've got the wonderful Ricky Norwood in the house. Rick, lovely to have you back here. What a win to talk about.
Mate, it's an honour and a pleasure to be back in. Yes, I am in the quietest room in the house. I'm back in the bog. I am tonight. So if I'm a bit echoey, you know, forgive me. You know, it's better you guys forgive me than I have to deal with the missus. Do you know what I mean? So, what a game tonight. What a game tonight. 5-0. What more can we say? Do you know what I mean? Like Lee was saying there, you know, maybe a bit of a poor Everton side. But look, those boys are battling for their lives. They've got a new manager. You know, sometimes it's really hard to kind of, for the Tottenham fan base to be pleased. But I think we just need to celebrate the wins. You know, enjoy them, enjoy the wins. Because like Lee's saying there, you don't know what's going to happen the week, you know, next week or the week after. And like Jace always says, you know, don't get too high with the wins and don't get too low with the losses. But like, enjoy it, boys. We were determined. We was out of the traps real quick, which I always love to see. You know, there was a great team performance there from top to bottom, which I'm sure we'll get into. And I was just, you know, I just loved it. Just loved it. Loved the 5-0. The 4th goal was my favourite. And I'll explain why when we get in. But the 4th goal, just put it to bed, man. Just put it to bed. So, yeah, man. Come on, you Spurs. Let's keep building these blocks.
Absolutely.
Just touching on that 4th goal, I mean, it just literally killed it, didn't it? For like, what,
killed it.
64 seconds or whatever, and to second half, bang, have some of that. And I have to bring up, hopefully I get your name right, Kaylin, because I know that you're a good friend of the show. You listen and watch all the time. But Kaylin says, thank you, Ricky. Kaylin says on screen here, Bentancur movement reminds her of Moussa Dembele. And I have to say to you, I actually said that out loud when I was watching the match earlier. I was watching it on my own. I was late in the office. I didn't get to the game tonight. So when I got home, I watched it on my Todd. And I actually said that out loud. I thought, he reminds me of something. I couldn't put my finger on it. I was like, I think it might be Mr. Dembele. So let's see. Let's not put too much pressure on the lad.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As I say, only been a couple of games, but I mean, when he started and when he's played, I mean, there's just such an exuberance about the guy. And I must say, we are due to also be having Sammy Powell join us. He's having a slight connection issue, so bear with. Sammy should hopefully be joining us very, very soon. But I mean, guys, let's get straight into it. I mean, we must say Antonio Conte's press conference is underway. So we'll be bringing you live updates on that as we go. Anything that needs to be brought to your attention, we most certainly will let you know. But let's start with you, Lee, because it was a really convincing win for Spurs, albeit, let's be honest about Everton, were really shocking opposition. But, I mean, somehow Spurs still find themselves in the midst of a top 4 battle. What did you make of the overall performance, Lee, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
I think Teddy summed it up quite nicely actually on M&F. I thought, individually there were some fantastic performances. I think as collective, sounds a bit weird. I'm not being negative or moaning, but there's certain instances that I get a bit sick of. Like we've had a lot of kind of sitting back Jose football under Nuno. It was just dire. And the patterns of play, there's some brilliant comments actually already in the comments box already. The patterns of play, you can see that happening. You can see that. I mean, I used to be very, very nervous when we're playing it out from the back. And now, even though we don't get it right all the time, it's that quick bang, 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 bang. And all of a sudden you're out and you're down a pitch. And that's very impressive. But that whole sitting back, I mean, Everton are woeful. Let's have it right. I like Everton as a club. They remind me of Tottenham quite a lot, actually, to be fair. But they were woeful tonight, and they had quite a lot of possession still. So that bothers me. I'm still not over the Poch era when we're going into games and having 65, 68% possession, because that, for me, if you've got the football, you tend to win more games than you lose. That said, the patterns of play, the way that he changed the game, the way that he removed some of the players when they were on yellow cards, because we could afford to do that. I thought it was excellent from top to bottom. So I'm not moaning. I'm just saying, from a team perspective, I think we could have been a bit more ruthless. So I think there was eight or nine there. And that sounds ridiculous, but I think there's 8 or 9 there if we wanted it. If we really wanted to go for it, I think there was 8 or 9 there. But you can't complain at a 5-0 win, can you, Rick?
No. I certainly won't try to be too much on the negative side of things, because Lee walked in and was like, "What about Conte's future for? We've just won 5-0. But I mean, I think just the nature of Spurs at the moment. I mean, obviously, I know there's a lot of frustration around that season ticket renewal deadline that's obviously come up today, and that we may touch upon depending on how this show goes. But I mean, Ricks, let's talk about the game. It's a great night for Spurs, who now move to within 2 points of 4th place Arsenal. And, we've won our last 2 games and 9-0 in aggregate. And for what's going on around Spurs at the moment in terms of the hysteria, of course, again, out the FA Cup, which none of us obviously like to see, for the fact that Conte seems to do really well in terms of being able to set out a game plan across 6 to 7 days for the 1 game a week, how confident are you now, Rich, going into the rest of the season now that Spurs have still got a genuine chance of getting a top 4 place?
Listen, Ricks, it's there for us. It's there for us, and it's up to these boys. I think tonight, they showed a bit of gusto. They showed a bit of grit about them. Maybe they was embarrassed about going out of the FA Cup. They all knew, and Conte said it, that the FA Cup was something to aim for. It was something to achieve. Do you know what I mean? It was something to kind of fight for, and it didn't happen. Middlesbrough in that second half, they overran us. They played their game. They made us play their way. And they got the goal in extra time, and they went through. But maybe there was a bit of embarrassment. Maybe there was a bit of enough. Sometimes in life we have to have, for ourselves, we have to have enough. Some people talk about going to the gym, for example. There's that guy that always talks about, I'm going to go next week. I'm going to go next week, and you have to have enough of being in your situation to go, you know what, I've had enough. I'm going tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? I'm going in the morning. I'm going to do a morning session. And maybe and hopefully and fingers crossed, these boys have had enough of being the up and downs and the also runs, and do you know what I mean? And being dominated by the team and taking these losses that we've taken all season from sides, no disrespect to them, but sides that we should have beaten. They shouldn't have even been close to us. And, we're talking about the Muras and the Vitesses and all of the rest that, the bad results that we've had just this season. And I'm not even talking about last season. So maybe these boys have had enough. With the inclusion of Bentancur and Kulusevski, 2 players that have come in, and it's been great for both worlds right now. I think they needed us because they love football, and they needed a platform to perform, and they needed a manager that that believed in them and gave them the platform to go and then perform. And we needed them because we needed people that could last 90 minutes, that could fight for 90 minutes, that wanted to perform and kind of go at it for 90 minutes, that were about it, that had a mentality. They didn't want to kind of concede and kind of like just drop off and kind of when the opposition score, just throw your hands up. These boys are like, nah, let's have it. Let's go for it. So it's a totally different side, bro. It's a totally different side going forward. It's all up to the boys. We know as Lee as being the crazy train conductor, you know what I mean? We all know that this roller coaster, this train track, it wasn't built on a flat ground. It was built on hills and mountains and the Himalayas. So we know that there's ups and downs coming. But if there's more fight like this, if there's more enough like this, then of course it's there for us. We've got to play the Gooners yet as well. So yeah, they might be 3 points in ahead of us right now, but we could play them and put it about, and so it's there for us. We've only got it's only for them boys to kind of go and get it now.
To be fair, I've got double Ricky in tonight, so I can say Ricky. But to be fair, we've got to play United, but we've also got to play West Ham. We've also got to play Arsenal. So I know Arsenal are 6 points or 3 points now, but they were 6 points when we both played the same games in front of us. We have to play them, right? So that's a massive game first and foremost. If we don't beat them that day, forget anything else, right? So let's just say that we beat them as a given, although it's not, but you know what I mean. Then we're 3 points behind them. They've still got to play West Ham away. They still got to play United. We still got to play United, and we still got to play West Ham. There's some twists and turns still in the mixer there for sure. I think what it reminds me of a little bit is when we had Harry Redknapp in charge and we were going for fourth spot and we ended up getting it at the Etihad. But the 2 games before the Etihad, when Crouchy scored that goal from the Kabul cross to get us into the top 4, we actually played Chelsea and Arsenal just before that. So we had 3 games, which were Chelsea, Arsenal, and Man City, and it was a real tough run. And it's like, oh, we ain't gonna do it. Lasagna Gate that had gone before with Martin Yarn, whatever, and we did it. And it has that little bit about it. But I think what's really important is that we just focus on the next game. What's interesting, there's a lot been made, and I took the picture earlier. Thank you, Sky, by the way. I took the picture from the Sky graphic earlier, and it's absolutely ridiculous. With 5+ days with training under Conte, we've drawn 1, and we've won the other 6. That is absolutely mental. And then the last 7 games where we've only had 4 days fewer between 2. Thanks, KMK. Between to train with, we've only won once, and that was against Leeds. We've literally lost the other 6 games. That's mental. So I agree with Jamie Carragher. I don't think that's a coincidence. What's interesting though, is the Premier League has stuck in a couple of the games that we've got in hand still in the midweek. So we're going to rock up at United with 6 days training under our belt to really go up to Old Trafford and hopefully turn them over. Although on current form, we'll probably lose that game on the basis that we win 1, we lose 1. So hopefully we change that. But then we've got Brighton 3 days later, like away. Yeah. So we've got away at Old Trafford, then we've got away at Brighton, which is one of the games in hand. So although from a fixtures perspective, we should be playing just once a week now, we're still not. We've still got 3 games in the next 7 days. So work that one out. And we've got Arsenal to squeeze in there somewhere. And I don't know, lads, listeners, viewers. I actually think it's going down to the wire. That's what I think. I think it's going down to the wire.
Yeah, I do. I think that top 4 battle, I think, like you say there, Lee, I think as things stand now, with the teams that we've still got to play and the games that are still involved, the magnitude of them between now and the end of the season, you do feel like it will go right to the wire.
Ricky, sorry to hoodwink again. I know you. I'm taking you off piece there a little bit, but just on that, let's be honest about it, right? We want it to be that way, don't we? We want to be in these big games. We want to be in these moments. Like we want to be. I do. This is the games that you look forward to. These are the games that you go, right, come on, it's a challenge. We've got to go again. Yes, you don't want to lose to the likes of Burnley and to the likes of Middlesbrough. Of course you don't. But you want to be in these competitions at that level so that you can challenge yourself and push yourselves. And when you see some of the players that he's getting a tune out of, where we all thought, look, actually, it's an absolute disgrace in some of these players. You can see that there's been improvement in some of the individuals, and you want to challenge yourself, don't you, against these things? You wouldn't want to just not to be a challenge, right? I just think you learn about everything about yourself when you're outside your comfort zone. You're challenging yourselves. That's when you learn, and that's when you get better. So I think it's good that we've got these challenges.
Yeah, no, and let's just hope the players are up for it, because I think we've seen, like I say, with City, they were prepared to do so. I think, again, United, maybe too, just having that massive game to come next, because our form is such of an inconsistent nature, maybe it does suit us having to play a team that we're fighting alongside us for that top four. Conte has been out in the last few moments and just said that for Spurs, and I do want to get this quote right, just so I can't be misquoted. So speaking at his post-match press conference, Conte has just said that finishing in the top four this season would be like winning the Premier League or the Champions League for Tottenham. Obviously, big words there from Antonio Conte, who, again, tonight much was judged about his body language and his mood. I think we can see on the touchline there. Listen, he's still fighting. He's still passionate, regardless of what they think. He went on to say, Conte, that today is good to celebrate, but I think I want an answer from players against Manchester United. He said the hard work we are doing is starting to pay off now. Ricks, as we said there, Conte coming out in the post-match press conference, emphasising that, just how big it would be for the club to get that top four spot. I mean, as we said, it's a massive 3 points, and that goal difference now to Arsenal reduced from 9 down to 4. And like I said, that aggregate there, 9-0 across now, Leeds, of course, and the game tonight against Everton. I asked you at the top of the show, Rick, top four now. Do you generally believe it can be done on what's been, again, psychologically a bit of a damaging week for the club? FA Cup defeat. Can we go again?
Of course we can go again. Of course we can. If you look at Conte, the reason he's talking about Champions League or that fourth spot being like a Premier League win or a Champions League win is because that's who he is. He needs to raise the bar and then look at the players and go, listen, do you want it? Do you want to talk about it on a tweet or in the press? I want to win a trophy. Or do you want it? And if you want it, show me. Put in more performances like that. It's not just about today, and let's just kind of go crazy about today. But what are you going to do next week about Man United? That's what I love about Conte's comments there. Straight away, he's getting their head back in the game. All right, yeah, you've won 5-0 tonight. But look, Man United are next week. What are you going to do then? Are you going to show me this up and down? Or are you going to show me that you really want to fight for big things? And for this squad and for this 11 players that are going to be on the field, this week and next week, what you got? What you got? So it's all there for the boys. It is all there for the boys. I think one of the good things that I did see today was the work rate. And I know Lee's got the blue book and stuff like that, but I would love to know like the sprints or the runs today because, all right, we can call Everton a poor side, but we work them. We work them. I hope whoever's doing the Everton podcast, the last word on Everton tonight, that they say, like we always say, because we're truthful, that, you know what, Tottenham deserved it. Because I think we did. We put it all out there. We worked them. We ground them out. Do you know what I mean? We really did grind them down. We hit them with the 3 goals in the first half. Okay, fantastic. And beautiful goals at that. And then in that second half, look, how many times have we let other teams back in? How many times have we given them encouragement? How many times have we sat off the ball and allowed them to play and then put ourselves in trouble? We've always said we kick ourselves in the butt. How many times we are our worst? We are our worst enemy to ourselves. I can't remember what the saying is, but you know what I mean. And that 4th goal just shut them all up. It shut them down. It killed them again. So when I look at stuff like that, I'm like, all right, cool. Well, let's take it forward. We can enjoy it today, but let's take it forward because we can do it. We can do it.
Yeah. What's it? Go on, Lee.
I was going to say some of the stats. I haven't got the running stats off the top of my head, but some of the stats are 14 shots today, 7 on target, which again is an average under Conte. If for those of you who remember what I said a few weeks back, 55% possession, which is a lion's share of possession, 640 passes. That was over 120 more than what Everton made, and they were quite incisive passes. I think we had, weirdly enough, it felt like to me watching the game that we had a better second half than we had the first half, even though we scored three goals in the first half. I don't know if that I'm sounding like weird. I'm not drunk, I promise. 89% passing accuracy as well from that tonight as well. So I just think that we were at it tonight. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, the work rate was there. We give away 15 fouls, so just giving some in there. And tactical fouls as well. Wasn't too many. It was only 2 yellow cards, and obviously he protected both Son and Romero by substituting them. But it was tactical fouls when we knew that actually a player might get away from us. It was a little arm around there, it was a little tug back, a little nip, a little tuck. And that's the clever bits that we need to be doing. And some of them patterns of play has been mentioned so many times in the comments. I can't give everybody credit for it, but you're definitely seeing. I don't know, both Ricks, if you can, if you agree, but you're definitely seeing some patterns of play now that are coming tactically. When you watch a tactical piece on Conte, you can actually see that on the pitch now with Tottenham doing it, and that's massively encouraging.
Yeah, the overlaps and the passing with confidence was beautiful today. Like it's like
from minute one as well, from the first minute, Rick.
It's like they didn't even have to look at half the passes that they were playing today. That shows confidence. That shows trust in the system. That shows they are working hard. Do you know what I mean? In training, because they without looking, they're seeing the overlap, and they know that somebody's going to be there. Yeah. You know, so we're getting there, mate. We're getting there. Yeah. At least we're seeing progression. This is night and day to a new Tottenham team. I mean, come on.
It's funny, Rich, because he agrees with you, Conte. Conte said after the game, I'm seeing my work. I'm simple working on it every day. What we're trying. I said to my players, this is the past. Enjoy the game tonight, but from tomorrow, you need to start thinking about United. He said, I've seen with my staff that when we have more days and time to prepare, to play against us is very difficult for everybody. The problem is when we have to prepare in 2 or 3 days. Well, obviously in Spurs' case now, we've only got the Premier League to focus on. So what I do want to address, guys, before we talk about the game itself, obviously there's many comments coming in, and we had questions in as well. I think, again, apologies, guys. We had so many questions that come in ahead of the show that I will read a couple of them out. But I think one of the key ones was, I will bring it up here from one of the fans. I will give him credit in a second, saying we have to keep our feet on the ground. Everton are absolutely woeful. I mean, Lee, to go to you on that, again, you know, we always want to try and offer some fair balance. Also, if the Spurs are so good, you have to take into account just how poor Everton were tonight.
Yeah, of course you do. I mean, you know, there's a few people in the comments saying, you know, I think we need to calm down a bit. It was only Everton, they're a bit woeful. They are. And we, you know, we're not getting. I'm just enjoying the fact that, you know, we're watching football and we're winning 5-0. If you can't enjoy that, then you know, maybe there's something wrong. But no, I think that again, Rob C makes a good point. United game is a game that actually suits us. You know, because a lot of teams that drop off us and sit in behind and sit deep and compact, we find it very, very difficult. Pierre says there on the screen, United are there for the taking. Just ask Roy Keane. No, I think that this is the thing about Tottenham that will frustrate the life out of me. And I was very, very doing the reverse psychology with the Man City game. I did think we'd get beat at Man City. I'm not going to lie, but you know, I was quite vocal in saying that there's no point. We're going to get beaten. What's the point? And then we go out there and do that. I mean, if we play like we did against Manchester City, against United, we'll rip them a new one. Like we'll actually beat them. Like we will. There's no doubt about it. And they're at home, coming off the back of a defeat. So they're a wounded animal. So that might be dangerous, but equally that might be brilliant because they might go for us. And if they go for us, we get in behind, and you know, and then that game's working out. So I actually think it's going to come down to the two managers and who's tactically more aware against that particular game. But Everton, come back to your point, they're not a good side. I mean, Dele Alli came on, obviously one of our own, essentially from our perspective, got a brilliant welcome, but he was woeful. He didn't even run. He just walked around, and we must have been looking at Tottenham fans thinking, my word, thank goodness he's not playing for us anymore, because that's what we used to get, and he's not doing anything. I think the only player that gave anything for them, thanks Rob, the only thing that gave anything for Everton was Gordon on their right hand side. I think everyone. I mean, Richarlison, he's normally a right old nasty sod, isn't he? And he was nowhere. No, just was well marshalled by Dyer and Romero, and Davis. There wasn't trouble. They didn't have a shot on target. I think Rob said earlier as well. 6 shots, none on target. I mean, literally, but you've got to still put the ball in the back of the net. And by word, did we do that tonight? Yeah,
no, absolutely. Rick's coming over to you just very quick before we dive into the game itself. Again, lots being made of how poor Everton were there tonight. Do you think Spurs should take some credit in being able to nullify them, or do you think we're playing a very, very poor Everton side that, in a way, the game suits us? What do you make of that narrative?
Listen, I think sometimes we cut our nose off to spite our face a little bit. Do you know what I mean? There is no winning in that sense. You know, sometimes, you know, we win against Leeds and it's a poor Leeds side, or, you know, we win against Man City at the beginning of the season and it was, they had 5 out. Do you know, there's always these little extra bits and pieces. What I'm saying is like, enjoy the win, first and foremost. You're allowed to enjoy it regardless of who it's against. Are Everton in a poor vein of form? Yeah, They are. Are they struggling at the moment under Frank Lampard? Yeah, they are, right? But we how many times have we allowed those teams to come onto us and play their game? The same with Burnley. What happened with Burnley? I think one of the stats were they hadn't won in 12 games or something. There was a crazy stat about Burnley, but again, we allowed them a 1-0 win. Do you know what I mean? So these teams that we're playing against that are fighting for their lives, and they didn't turn up to fight that much tonight, Everton, but you never know what you're going to get until you turn up on the field, and then it's up to you. I always say this thing, and I put it in my tweet before the game, but I always say this thing about, like, don't worry about the opposition, let the opposition worry about you. And I think that's what we done today. They were worried about us. We came out there with the work rate, with the sprints, with the kind of overlapping runs and the quick passes. I mean, Kulusevski today, the man was a magician today. Was a magician. Doherty today, Doherty didn't just have a really strong game because it was Everton. Doherty had a really strong game because he played with confidence. He started to believe in himself again. He started to think to himself, wow, this right wing back role, and finally he's arrived, but wow, this right wing back role is there. It's up for grabs. And Conte loves what I'm doing. So let me go and show them. And you could see that he set up both of Harry's goals. Do you know what I mean? Like, Harry, again, phenomenal today. But Doherty set up both of his goals. And I haven't been his biggest fan over the last couple of seasons. But when he does right, I'm going to say he done really good today. Do you know what I mean? When he does good, let's say he does good. When he does bad, we can critique him on the bad.
Give a shout out to Talia, one of our own, right? With old Matt Doherty tonight. Talia, bit of Matt Doherty.
Yeah, but I mean, he has had a hard time of it, and he has had some up and down performances. But today, he really did. He played with confidence. Even the way he shaped to shoot in the first half, I was like, oh, that was a confidence shot. It wasn't, let me just make it look like I'm busy, or let me just hit it against goal.
Because he did drop a shoulder, didn't he? And have a little take somebody. He did. He was. I think that confidence as well.
And that's the confidence. That is the confidence that's coming back in him. And finally, we're seeing the player that we bought from Wolves. Fantastic. Do you know what I mean? Like, fantastic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, tonight, I think Bentancur, we'll come on to him. I think he made a massive difference being in the middle tonight. Dictating, I've got to say, again, this is no disrespect to when you had that midfield pairing of Højbjerg and Winks. It's funny that tonight you see Bentancur next to Højbjerg, how much Højbjerg's performance just went up a notch. I thought he was excellent in that game. It just shows you that sometimes, depending on who you pair players with, makes a massive imperative difference.
I suppose you made it back in time, to be fair. From playing game, you've showered and changed really quickly, mate, to be fair.
What can I say these days? What can I say?
I think Højbjerg can trust Bentancur. I think Højbjerg looks at Bentancur and knows that he can trust him, whether he's receiving the ball in tight areas or whether to pass the ball, or whether Højbjerg goes up and he's behind to kind of look after the defense. He can trust him. And that's when you get a different, whichever pairing, if there's a trust, if there's a bond, if there's an understanding, you get a better pairing. Like, you get a better team. You get a better performance out of a lot of them. Look at Dion Romero and Davies right now. Do you know what I mean? Them, they're starting to really kind of click. So, and they trust each other. Do you know what I mean? So the more that, Højbjerg, and the more Bentancur plays, the better we're going to be, full stop. But the fact is, he can trust him.
Yeah, no, I think obviously it's imperative that we now can try and keep this guy fit, because I think if we go to United, with an opportunity to pair them to, or again, hopefully Skip, we have to wait and see what happens with Oliver Skip. Obviously, he has had some form of setback. So I think with him, it's up in the air. But I mean, from tonight's performance that we'll get into in a second, I think you can't ask for more than what we've seen in that field. So what we will do, we will go for our first break of the show. For our listeners and watching us on YouTube, there's 800 of you plus watching us live. So thank you ever so much for all your incredible support on an evening which has seen Spurs thump Everton by 5-0. Now, some of you will be aware that we're absolutely delighted on the last one on Spurs here to be sponsored by NordVPN. So Nord, in case you weren't aware, they are a secure, fast and incredibly to use VPN with over 5,200 servers across 59 countries. NordVPN automatically selects the best server based on location, loads your specific needs. You have a great opportunity with this product, which I'm pleased to say I'm now also using to get the likes of YouTube Premium at a massive discount. Should you switch your location settings, you can do that by going to settings such as India, Colombia or Argentina in terms of locations, and you can save on the pennies. And we've actually got a brilliant discount running at the moment, which you can use by using the code LWOS to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan, plus 1 month free and a bonus gift. It is completely risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. And as I've emphasised that, for me personally, using this product, I think, generally with YouTube Premium, it's one of those things where if you want to get rid of all those adverts, which can be so frustrating and annoying, I think for that alone, it's a benefit. So go and check that out by all means. But guys, going back to the game, coming over to you, Ricks. Spurs, we had a couple of, just the one proficient change in there. We saw Rodrigo Bentancur coming in for Harry Winks, who dropped out of that midfield duo, as we know that struggled really difficultly between him and Højbjerg at the Riverside Stadium last week. And Matt Doherty, as Lee emphasised, keeping his place in the team in dispense of Emerson Royale. So that team read Lloris, Romero, Dyer, Davis, Doherty, Højbjerg, Bentancur, Sessegnon, Kulusevski, Kane and Son, with a bench of Galini, Sanchez, Rodon, Emerson, Reguilon, White, Winks, Bergwijn, Lucas. And Lee is showing us now an image, I believe, of Matt Doherty as Maradona. There you go. Who says his show doesn't defend or doesn't tell you where this show's actually going to go?
Mate, he's going mad. Fantastic. That's from one of our own, Jamie, from the Daily Opera.
Ricks, team-wise, was you happy with that team when you saw it come out?
Yeah, I was actually. I think Sessegnon has been kind of getting better game by game, and we're seeing better performances from him. I mean, the first half he was flying today. So to see him retain his place, fantastic. It also kind of puts the pressure on Reguilon as well to kind of go, you're not automatic right now. You do have competition for your place. So if you really want it, fight for it, show me. You know what I mean? If Sessegnon has risen his bar, you need to raise yours too. So that, and that's why it was great to see him in the second half, straight away pop up with a goal, because the pressure's on him now. He can't just coast in any game. So, yeah, seeing Sessegnon kind of retain his place, fantastic. Doherty, to tell you the truth, against Middlesbrough, when he went off, I was like, we actually looked a poorer side with him off the field. And when Emerson came on, so to see him back in the side, I mean, it's crazy to say that after the last couple of seasons that he's had, but to say, to see him in the side and retain his place and get another game under his belt and get a really good, confident game under his belt, really good to see. Winks had to drop out of the midfield. We can all see the quality in Bentancur. We can all see it. Ever since his debut, and he only played 15 minutes, I think it was. We could see he's got twinkle toes, he's got strength, he's got poise, he's got the mentality to drive that team. You could see him at 5-0 today, arguing and kind of upset that a pass went awry or a challenge went awry, or he was determined to not only win the game but to have a clean sheet as well, and that was beautiful to see from him. Kulusevski, he's growing strength to strength, Rick. Strength to strength. Yeah, every single game that he plays. We could see him a little bit tired against Middlesbrough during the week, but you could see every single time that he's playing, he's growing and growing and growing. And today he was a bit of a magician. And then you can't drop the dynamic duo. Do you know what I mean? The best duo in the Premier League. Batman and Robin, Kane and Sonny. So really nice to see that side, and it was great to see that performance.
It was, most certainly. Lee, we got a flying start from Spurs. Ben Davies playing Ryan Sessegnon down the wing, and he fired that low cross in. To be fair, it's a really difficult 1-2 defend. I know he got hammered in the punditry at the time, I think by Jamie Carragher, Michael Keane, but he put it in the back of his own net under pressure from Harry Kane. But Ryan Sessegnon, again, really making things happen. Now, it's interesting because Sessegnon, from fans, I mean, he is divided opinion. I was on here last week saying that for me, still concerned about Sessegnon. I felt the weight of the shirt. I'm just not too sure if it's going to be working out for him. But subsequently, as we know, he went off at halftime with an injury. He looked really, really disappointed. And it obviously, at the moment, was shaking his head. We don't know how bad that injury is going to be. We'll know more in the next day or so. But what have you made of the overall impact of Sessegnon? And do you think now is he first choice, in your opinion, over Reguilon for that left-back spot?
Well, I think it's a brilliant point made by both of you, to be fair, on the whole Sessegnon versus Reggie situation, because for me personally, clear as day. Thanks, Ellie. Thanks very much. Loving my pad. give you a tour later.
Easy.
The Reggie, when he came on, I know he scored straight away, which probably underpins the point I'm making. He was like a man possessed. It was like he was like, holy moly, I need to fight for my place and for my shirt. And that's credit to Sessegnon, because Sessegnon's made that happen. I thought he was good in parts in that first half as well. Good friend of the show, Nicky Wallace, always watching and listening in. How you getting on, Nicky, tonight? Mentions in the comments there, he's made of glass, Sessegnon. So let's hope that it's not a bad injury. But I think that we was in a situation where Conte didn't really need to take any risks. He took off Sessegnon, obviously, Son and Romero, and all three of them were both 2 on a yellow card, and one had a knock on and an injury. So, in maybe in different games, he might have had to keep Sess on, but let's hope it's not too serious. I think the both of them, that's a stronger left-hand side with that competition than it is on the right-hand side. Ever since my tweet that banged, by the way, when I talked about Emerson and like lay off him, he's only had like 11 games or whatever it was, and all that sort of stuff. And he's only 22, and since then he's turned 23. I think he lost his dog, but now he found it again, and he certainly hasn't found any form. He has been poor.
Yeah.
Doherty, I can't believe that we're saying this, and Doherty's now moved in front of him as a first choice right back,
and convincingly as well at the moment. Yeah, over the course of the last month,
and very convincingly, Rick. To be honest, so, I love a stat, as you know, from the Blue Book, and I'd like to give you this stat. So this amount of time, 10 appearances this season, Doherty, 1 goal, 4 assists now. I'm going to compare that to the record of 55 appearances in a Tottenham shirt with 1 goal and 3 assists. The wonderful, the £45 million man, Giovanni Lo Celso. And when you put that into context, don't you, that Doherty has now got more assists than what Gio has in his entire Tottenham career. Something is happening under Conte. So when Conte keeps talking about time, keep talking about patience, keep talking about some of the media and some of us fans, and probably some of us on the WhatsApp group and some of us on this channel might look at it really negatively. And it might be the right way to look at it where he's saying it. But for me, he's been very, very consistent with saying, I need time, we need patience. We can't change 20 years of hurt, which is basically what he said recently.
Yeah.
And I think he's bigging it up. I think he's saying that at the end of the day, in his press conference, it's just finishing or just happened. It would be an absolute miracle for getting to the top 4. It'd be like winning the Champions League or whatever. I think what he's trying to say there is that we have no right whatsoever with the way we've been playing and our inconsistency to get in the top 4. We have no right to do it. And he's putting that challenge down to the players to say, look, we need to try, and we need to change that mindset. I think that Reguilon being out with, and it was confirmed, wasn't it, COVID? So most of the time the club don't tell you, but it was that he did have COVID. So now he's back and he's looking at that shirt and he's thinking, I need to play well in order to get back in this side, and that can only be a good thing, can't it, lads?
Yeah,
Listeners?
well, I think we're crying out. Yeah, I mean, we're crying out for competition, aren't we? Really, across the squad. I mean, Rick's coming over to you. Sessegnon himself, really, he showed some real good attacking movement in that first half. As well as a couple of sloppy moments if we're being really critical. But I mean, overall, I think he would have felt in the course of the last few weeks that he's really now staking a claim for that left back spot. I think he said that he's come out recently and said that for him, I think this is the best he's ever felt under a manager at Tottenham, because Conte's really believed in him. Now, Conte has just spoken in this post-match press conference about Sessegnon. He says, we have to make an evaluation tomorrow. I hope nothing is serious. It is a muscular problem. Every time with this player, a run of consistency and then an injury. But I hope nothing serious. And do you know what? Conte's spot on there. Sessegnon, for as much as he's been given game time here, an injury always seems to stop him from being able to build momentum.
And if it's muscular, that's a problem. If it's muscular, that ain't going to be a quick one. If it's a dead leg or something, he might be out for next game and then return. But he's now going to be out. And that now means that Reguilon will start. And again, I don't personally have a problem with if it's Sess or Reguilon. That's what I was trying to say. No.
I think that's one of the positions where we have got that bit of alternative.
The problem now is that if Sess is injured, Reguilon starts. Now there isn't a backup for that Man United game. And we know how hard the wing backs in Conte's system have to work. That's why I still think that he has to. Now, Poch used to do it even with fullbacks, to be fair, rotate them all the time. Like if you go back and look at the record books, when we always talk about or the stats books, the blue book, when we always talk about, you know, Lloris in goal, and we had Vertonghen and Alderweireld with Rose on the left and Walker on the right, and we go, that was our back four. Actually, he used to change the fullbacks quite a lot, even in them strong seasons, like with Ben Davies coming in or Kieran Trippier coming in and that sort of stuff. Thanks, Beanie. But the point is that under Conte's system, then wing backs have to be all the way, don't they? All the way up, all the way back, all the way up, all the way back. And I just think that having one of them out is a problem. That's why he can't trust Emerson Royale at the moment. So it feels like he's out injured. And obviously having Cess out injured now on the other side, that's going to hurt us, isn't it?
Yep. Rick, let's come over to you. Just on that competition there between Sessegnon and Reguilon, do you have a favourite at the moment, or do you think it's fairly even in the battle for that left-back spot?
No, I'm with you. I think it's fairly even right now. I mean, Cess, you know, when he does burst forward, he does look dangerous, you know. But I love Reggie as well. So I think the competition for places and the fight between them is only a good thing, like we've all been saying. But it really is a shame if he has got a muscular injury, like is being said right there, that's going to keep him out for, I don't know, what, 3 weeks, a month maybe. That, I think that's a real massive shame. I think that's gonna, you know, it's gonna put the dip on Sessegnon, because again, he even in himself, every time he gets to trust his body and he starts to burst and he starts to go past people, which we all want him to do, you know, he pulls up with a muscular injury, which is only gonna it's just gonna hurt not only his body but his mind. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully it is just a dead leg. Hopefully it's just a bit of ice and elevation, and hopefully tomorrow, you know, we find out that he's not that badly injured, and he can come back within, you know, a week, 10 days or so. But no, I like both of them. I think especially Reggie. I think Reggie's got a great cross on him. Yeah. I think he does have a turn of pace. He does have a turn of skill. But I agree with exactly what Lee was saying there. We need our fullbacks to be able to be rotated, because, as Conte said already, we don't just need them to defend. We need them to be midfielders, and we need them to be attackers. We need them to be everything. Do you know what I mean? So having a couple out is going to hurt us a little bit. But right now, Reggie, like we've just been saying there, you know, he's going to have the opportunity to step back in, and he's going to have to show up and perform. Just because Sessegnon is out doesn't mean that his performances can drop off, because if they do, or if he becomes untrustworthy in Conte's system, then as soon as Cess is back, he'll be dropped again. So it's now up to Reggie to go and take that shirt, to go and play against Man United, and to show us what type of player he is. What does he want to achieve with Tottenham? You know, and that can only be good for us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, again, from Reguilon's perspective, you know, he had a really good impact. You know, just 41 seconds into coming on, scoring a goal that for Spurs really did kill that game. But to go back to the second goal of the game for Spurs, and it was Son really, coming over to you, Lee, that's roaring back to life. You know, Son, who, again, over the course of the last month on these shows, a bit like us on here, you know, such a different opinion on him. So I know you've always loved Sonny. Spurs breaking it down the right. Kane finding Kulusevski. Really lovely move from Spurs, who played in Son, and he shot squeezed under Pickford. I think Pickford probably would have felt he should have done better with that effort, really, the way the ball squirmed under him. But listen, still got a score. It was lovely, fluent play really, from Kane into Kulusevski to then find Son. And at 2-0, you just felt that this evening, the game itself, it had lots more goals in it for Spurs. It really did settle us down on a way to a really comfortable win.
Sorry, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that, you know, Son's having an absolute shocker, to be fair. You know, you look at the likes of Kevin De Bruyne battering him in the goal charts, Raheem Sterling battering him in the goal charts, Jamie Vardy, Bruno Fernandes, Rafinha. Everyone wants a bit of Rafinha. No, they're not. None of them are. Son is the fourth of Premier League top goal scorers this season. He has got 11. And guess who's right behind him? You couldn't make it up, having the worst season ever. And De Bruyne and Antonio, they're amazing. And Ivan Toney in his first season. And Emil Smith-Rowe, he's the best thing since sliced bread. And guess what? Kane on 10 goals in 5th place. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up, could you? This is why it's such a crazy train. How have we got two of the best players as a duo, as we already know, in the Premier League era, in the Premier League history? Now they've had shocking seasons. Certainly Kane has. Son's he blows hot and cold to another. 4th in the goal charts, and Harry Kane 5th in the goal chart. So, look, with being serious, Son has had a dip of form. I mean, against Middlesbrough, he was absolutely woeful. It's the worst I've ever seen him play. And I'm including that in his first season when he was very, very hot and cold in his first season. But, I think tonight, there's something not right with Son. I think when Son feels like he's having a bad game, he has a bad game. Does that make sense? It makes it even worse. But then he's got the ability, even against Middlesbrough, he was woeful, but he could have scored that little kind of flick or whatever. He could have done that, and he's done that so many times. Like today, I think he had a decent enough game. I think that there was times when Kane's passing in the second half when Son went off, you're thinking, oh man, if Son was on the pitch, that would probably be 6-0 and whatever. Son could have probably ended up having a hat-trick himself in the second half if he didn't come off. But yeah, I mean, look, I love him, but I think this season, when people in seasons gone by have said sometimes he blows a bit hot and cold and he has kind of purple patches or lack of consistency in some areas, I've always said no. But actually, I have seen it a couple of times this season. But again, I actually think that that's indicative of this team. This is the problem. When Conte gets the team, I'm not just talking about going to spend big in the summer and the individuals, but I think when Conte has, his team, like that we're playing together for each other all of the time, running, working, smashing, grinding for every ball. I mean, I've got to bring them up. I've got to bring them up because I watched that Manchester derby yesterday, and I thought City were absolutely off the chart. I thought they were outstanding. Like some of the stuff that they were doing to win the ball back, they do it so quick, bang, and all of a sudden they got the ball back, and you think, blimey, and you just want us to be at them levels. And I think that it's almost like this season for Conte is like a prolonged pre-season. The results are like a pre-season, don't really matter because it's a pre-season friendly. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I know they do matter, and I know it isn't a pre-season, but that's what it kind of feels like. But they're getting the energy, the team play, the patterns of play, the desire in their legs, in their brains, that muscle mass to say, this is what we have to do next season. So, I'm hoping that is the case. But, Son for me, I'll say it. I know it's bandied about a lot. I think he's world class. I think people need to understand what he carries on his shoulders, not just for Tottenham Hotspur, but what he does for his country. This isn't about just playing for your country. He is the superstar man in his country, in Asia and Southeast Asia. For me, he's world class, and he's Tottenham. He's Mr. Tottenham, and he absolutely love him. So to get another goal, to be up there on 11 goals after having seemingly a hot and cold season, I think it's a fantastic return, and long may that continue.
Yeah, it's funny, Ricks, with Son, because tonight when you look at it a couple of times, he gave away the ball on the edge of Everton's box. You look at where he had a couple of good opportunities that he kind of wasted, but and that was including a one-on-one as well. But he popped up again with a goal for the team that, at the time for Spurs, to set us down for 2-0. I think that allowed us to even grow into the game even more with confidence that we would go and hopefully have a clinical win this evening, which it proved to be. What do you make of it, Ricks, when Son is criticised for not being more consistent? Can you understand that, or are you of the opinion that what he brings to the team is enough?
I mean, the thing is with Sonny is that he can always give more, and he always wants to give more. So he's not a robot, Ricks, is what I would say. He's not a robot. He can't give 10 out of 10 performances every week. We all wish he could, but sometimes he is going to have a dip, or sometimes the opposition are going to work out what Sonny's game is. Do you know what I mean? And what positions he's running in, and they're going to control him. And we don't want that to happen. We don't want to admit that happens, but it's going to happen. It's the Premiership, So I love Sonny to bits. I do. I agree with Lee in the sense that he is world class, and I think, like Lee said there, it is very indicative of the team that he's going to have dips with the team. But he's always there. He is always there for us. He will always pop up for a goal when we need him. He'll always be that guy. And how nice was it today that we could make 3 substitutions for prevention rather than
actually needing to change the game.
rather than needing to change the game, rather than going for that extra goal, rather than trying to win it, trying to chase it. It was great to kind of take those 3 off and kind of go, all right, Sonny, listen, you're all right. You've had a great first half. It's a bit up and downy, but you know what? Come, chew your bones. Get ready for United on Saturday, on the weekend. Do you know what I mean? And the same with Romero on a yellow. All right, look, come off. Let's make sure that you're not sent off, or let's make sure that you're available for Man United. You know, it is really nice to see that. But again, on the back of what Lee was saying there about Conte in pre-season, is very similar to Poch's first season. And we all know that when Poch came in, the double sessions, it sent shockwaves through that team. Do you know, when he first started with those double sessions and the tactics and raising that bar, it was very much like this. 1 week we was up, 1 week we was down. And we had to find that consistency, and we had to find the players that were willing and wanting to work and fight for this system, for this team. And within that year, he found it out. You know, we all know that he got rid of Adebayor, Soldado, Bentaleb. You know, he changed his midfield every season or so to kind of freshen that up, to kind of give them energy. It takes a minute. So ever since Conte's been here, he's trying to raise the bar again. He's trying to get us back up to those Man City levels where we can go into that game, or those big games, and kind of go, you know what, let's go. I know we can get something out of this game, rather than hoping. And little bit by little bit, we're getting there. All I asked for when I saw Conte was progression, and that's what I'm seeing. I am seeing a progression in patterns of play, in work rate, in shots on goal, in crosses, in defending. Do you know what I mean? So it is there. We ain't there yet, but we are kind of putting these blocks into place. Yeah. So little bit by little bit, bro. Little bit by little bit.
How many points do you think Pochettino got in his first season? Bearing in mind it was a full season as well, because he was appointed in the summer, 2014-15, after 26 games. How many points do you think he got?
I can't tell you.
Shall I tell you? Blue book.
Yeah, go on.
Tell me, please.
44. And we're on 45. I mean, you could not make it up. It is virtually exactly the same. Even goals scored and goals conceded, it is virtually exactly the same. It is very, very scary. 13 wins, 8 losses, 5 draws. So we've had 9 losses so far, but we've obviously had more wins as well than that so far. But when we've got an extra point, but very, very similar. So you're spot on when you say it's very similar to that first season. And I think we've all got to remember as well, we had Nuno at the beginning of the season. We had players that were brought in for Nuno in this season.
Yeah, for a certain specific system as well, for a complete different system to this. Yeah,
Emerson was brought in to play right back, and he's now not playing that. And the 2 signings that Paratici's made or Conte's made, and again, making some noises, if I can say that, alluding to the fact that he had a huge say in them signings. Bringing them people in. It wasn't just about Paratici; it was about these Conte are asking for these people to get them in. They've been excellent, haven't they? Absolutely excellent. All we've asked for as Tottenham fans is, from a recruitment perspective, is to get players in that are ready to compete and improve the first 11. And I don't think any Tottenham fan will please come on and take me to task, but I don't think any Tottenham fan can say that Bentancur and Decky has not improved our first 11. I think they've been super.
Well, they're walking. They're walking at the moment, aren't they? They walk into the team. They really, really do. Yeah, Rick's coming over to you, the third goal of the game. And to be fair, I mean, Lee joked earlier about Doherty's stats up against Lo Celso's. Well, I mean, to be fair, I think we finally found this creative midfielder in Doherty, because, my God, that was almost like Ericsson. Some just like the assist he provided. It was an outrageous, ludicrous first time ball through to Harry Kane. And Kane does what he always does, one-on-one like that, played on side by the last man, finished, made no mistake about it. But I mean, to be honest with you, I think the plaudits will go to Matt Doherty for that assist alone. And I think, like I said, crazy stats come out about Doherty in the last few minutes here is that he's now averaging a goal or assist every 100.6 minutes this season.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Like, what happened and how did that happen? But you know what? That's a mark of a good manager, a world-class manager. Again, I don't want to harp on about Poch, but Poch gave us plenty of examples, and he rose the bar for us. And I've said this a couple of times, but Moussa Dembele, Moussa Dembele, when Pochettino turned up, he was a bit of a headless chicken. He could dribble around 14 players, but he'd run into the 15th. Do you know what I mean? He could hold on to the ball for 5 minutes, but as soon as he got to the edge of the box, he would lose it, and then they would counter on us. And it was only until kind of Pochettino came in and saw what he was about. You got to remember, we didn't even know where he's best position. Dembele. At one point he was DM, one point he was centre mid, one point he was number 10. There was even at one point, I think he played as a number 9 at one point. But forget that right now. But when Pochettino came in, he was like, I know what you are. I know what we can do. All right. So let us get you focused, ready, and do what you do best. Hold on to the ball, but pass it to the good players. And, you know, we saw a beautiful Dembele under Pochettino. You know, those couple of seasons under him, he was unplayable. He was untouchable. Right now, we've got Conte and a player under Doherty that, I mean, I don't want to say I gave up on him. But I was I did. I gave up on him. I was like, well, this guy can't play. He can't play right back. He can't play right wing. He can't play left back. He can't play left. I don't know what he does. Do you know what I mean? But he was bereft of confidence. This guy has come in and really kind of empowered him, really said to him, like, you are a guy that I can rely on, but you need to show me on that field, you know? And that's why it's been hard between Emerson and Doherty, them two flitting in, flitting out, and the inconsistency, especially with the team. But right now, you look at Doherty, oh my gosh, that through ball, I mean, give it up to Kulusevski for just creating havoc and confusing Everton's back line by running across, passing it to Doherty, and then first time through ball to Harry with acres of space. He had time to take the touch. He had time to do Sudoku. He could have done 10 press-ups if he wanted before he shot. He could have done whatever he wanted, Harry Kane. Do you know what I mean? And Harry as well, like, my goodness. He's starting to fire right now at the business end of the season. And absolutely. I'm fingers crossed that can only mean good things for us. Yeah. You know, he's looking at those goal-scoring charts, and don't think he's not. We all know he is. And he's like looking at Salah being like, all right, so what can I do here? What can I do? Can I catch him? Can I? And if he wants to, and if he can, that's it. Again, great for us. That means we're putting goals past people. That means we're actually playing football. You know, not like under Nuno when we was just passive. We couldn't even take a shot on goal. No. Right now, we're playing ball. And Doherty, big up to him. I've got to big him up. I've got to say, fantastic. I think right now, the right wing-back role is his right now. And I would never have thought that to be the case. Beginning of the season, last week, or any week. Do you know what I mean? But he's earned it. So let's give it to him. Yeah,
no, I completely agree. Well, what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to go for our another break of the show very, very quickly. For our watching audience and as an audio and listening as well, we've got nearly 800 of you plus watching us live on a post-match evening, which has seen Spurs smash Everton by 5-0. And it's due to the nature of how many goals we're having to go through, we are going to go for another break. So thank you so much as always. Like I said, second half, guys, and I think, again, we were concerned that maybe Spurs would kind of take their foot off the gas. But if anything, it was almost like we went into overdrive, really. Such a great start, as we said about Reguilon earlier, making it 4-0 to Spurs. But again, Kulusevski, massively involved. Another assist for him. Lee, I think, as we just touched upon, really, you know, the way in which this guy has almost navigated his way now into that first team and looks now to be a regular. How impressed have you been, Lee, by just how, I would say so far, he's acclimatised so well to the Premier League? I know many say Swedes do seem to find it easier than maybe other overseas players from different nationalities to come over here. But you watch Kulusevski play, it's almost like he's been playing over here for years.
Well, I have to credit on Twitter Spurs song sheets or somebody via Spurs song sheets, but give me a ginger from Sweden. Absolutely brilliant. And to be fair, you know, to give him a song that quickly, you know, hats off to them. You know, the creative people that put the songs together and stuff. And I'm absolutely clucking to go for an away day as well before the season's over to get in the mix of that. It's singing slightly in the wall. It's singing slightly differently. When you're away, I think you sing all the whole time. So credit to all them guys and girls that are doing that. And it's a brilliant song. And he's brilliant. I have to say, I am very, very happy that we signed him. Somebody put a stat out on Twitter earlier that was he is only 9 months older than Phil Foden. And
Wow.
this is incredible. Like, you know, you don't look young, does he? I think we've said it before on the show. He's like a 30-year-old in a 21-year-old's body. Like, you know, he plays the game as though he's been playing in the Premier League for ages. He is. I don't want to put too much pressure on a bloke because, you know, he might go and have a couple of bad games or whatever, but he has been the consistent one. Like, you know, he has just literally moved Lucas out of the way and gone, see you later, fella. I'm in the
Mad,
mixer.
isn't it? Yeah, just how quickly he's done that as well.
Yeah, completely. And he's never played in the Premier League before. And I have to say, I know we'll come on to your doppelganger, Ricky Bentancur, but them two signings have been, you know, we give a lot of rubbish to the club, and I give a lot of flack to the recruitment and the way that we go about that. But them two players have been excellent. And I actually think in the end, because of the Manchester Uniteds, the Arsenals, the West Hams or whatever, all in and around that, all three of them clubs didn't make a signing in the January transfer window, and we made two and shifted out four, which was really important in my brain. I know Conte's made some quotes, but in my head, you know, to get rid of Lo Celso and Atunga and Dembele and Dele Alli, after you see what Dele done tonight, I love him for what he's done for our football club, but the guy was like walking around. I think that's massive. And to do that in that January transfer window, and I think that could be the difference. So, you know, Decky, as Ali Gold told us that that's what he's being called now, and that's what he likes to be called. I thought he was excellent. He's strong. It feels like he's about to lose the ball, but then he doesn't lose it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's got that extra, you know, that I don't know, gives that extra 5%, but it's kind of like all of a sudden he toes that ball, even for, you know, to weigh Son in. For Son's goal, you thought, oh, he's just going to get away from it, but he didn't. He got his toe on it outside of his boots just to get it to Son, and that's that bit of extra. He just looks up for it, strong, powerful, knows what he wants to do. And I'm not a massive lover of inverted wingers or people playing with a left foot on the right or vice versa. Conte loves it. Who am I to question him? But my word, it's not just he hasn't got a left foot; he has also got a right foot as well, and you know, he can go either way. And yeah, he's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I can't praise the bloke enough. He's been absolutely superb. And he's 21. And we've got to remember, you know, Conte, when he first came to the club and he talked about being ready for the Premier League to fight, it's a different planet. I think he said, I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me, but I think he said something like, it's a completely different, it's like a different competition in the Premier League. It's like a different game. You know, when you're, and he was obviously referring to Brian Hill, and Hill's gone out. He's been absolutely fantastic in La Liga, and fair play to him. And I think he'll be an asset for us, either to sell on, loan out, or keep later on. But Decky, wow, walked straight into the first team. More assists again tonight. Goals in him, assisting in big goals already. He's already scored a massive goal against Man City. One of our own, you know, Jace always says, you know, it's about them big goals. Lamella never really did it. I mean, he scored a Rabona against Arsenal in the North London derby, only for us to lose 2-1, and he got sent off in that game. So it still doesn't really count as a massive goal. And Kulusevski's been here for 5 minutes, and he's already scored a huge goal. Scored a couple now, obviously, and assists. I think he's been superb.
Yeah, John's also interesting, I find, Rick, as well, is that, you know, there seems to be that genuine trust already from Kane and Son and from Bentancur and Højbjerg that they know they can give it now to the left-hand side. There will be some end product there. I think in the past where, you know, Mora, who again, to be fair, this first half of the season, I've got to say Mora, I thought had really improved under Conte. I think there's no doubt about that. But I think, being honest about it, you can see now the level in which Decky has almost brought it to a different, I would say, how can I put stratosphere on that left-hand side? I mean, I would only say that big. It feels like we've got a player that can not only create, but can also finish as well. You know, he's provided 2 assists tonight. He's only been over here a month or two, which is quite incredible. Do you feel that, Rick, in the team, there's a bit more of a trustworthiness on the left-hand side?
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Because the one thing that he is showing that everybody can see is desire. You know, if he didn't have no desire, he wouldn't have been able to put that ball in for Sonny, just get that toe on it. It's not just his skill and technical ability. He's got a lot of intelligence. He doesn't always make the obvious pass. He doesn't always put in the obvious ball. You know, but what really impressed me today was how he rode a challenge. How he didn't just get the challenge and then just hope for a free kick. He rode it. He got clipped twice today and just rolled and got back up and kept that move going. that is desire, that is determination. That's a whole different thing. We're not waiting for the ref or VAR or someone to give us something. He was like, nah, let's go and let's keep it going, because that was almost an advantage for us to keep it going, keep that ball moving, rather than stop play, let them get back into shape and lose the momentum. He has given us momentum. He is there that as a player that is, like Lee was saying there, that is strong, but the fact that he's not shy of a challenge, the fact that he can roll a man, the fact that he's big, he's physical, he's got broad shoulders, he's very square, do you know what I mean? And he uses his size to his advantage. And right now, we not only do we have a goal threat up there, but we have a physical threat up there. We have somebody that can be trusted with the ball. He doesn't mind people crowding him, because again, he's got quick enough feet to get out of that, a bit like Bentancur. He's got quick enough feet to get out of those positions and to kind of get across at the end of that, or to get something that can help the team move forward. So right now, it's only early. It's still early, but right now, my gosh, what more could we say? What more could we say? Them two signings are bringing the side together. They're actually galvanizing the side. They're doing what we hoped others would do. You know, Dele, the four that we got rid of, I've said before, maybe on Chris's channel, but the four that we got rid of, they were just names on paper. They were just names on paper.
I agree with
Dele, Ndombele, Hill, and Lo Celso, names on paper. They was on the bench, and if something went wrong, all right, cool, you can come on for 20, 30 minutes or whatever the case may be. But what could they be trusted? Could you ask them for 90 minutes and a performance? Could you ask them to go to down in the depths to try and get a win, or to, you know, take the game by the scruff of the neck to try and get a win? You couldn't. However much I love Dele for what he done for us, however much I wanted Ndombele to be the biggest and baddest midfielder in our midfield, it didn't happen. But these boys have come in and done that. And that's due diligence as well. Like Lee was talking there about January, a lot of sides didn't make no January signings, because we know, and Ricks, you bloody well know, that how difficult it is to do business in January. But Paratici and Conte went back to two players that they knew inside out, that they already trusted, that they already done their due diligence on, and said, you know what, come with us, come play some football, come make your name in the Premiership.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Happy Gaming on there as well. He or she says that they're a Juve fan, and they know, there you go, a Juventus fan. Kula and Benta are very, very good players. Conte is the best manager as well. Good luck. So thanks for sharing that as well. I think what's really interesting about with Kulusevski, and I've murdered that, so to call him Decky. Decky is he's had 6 appearances. I know it's early days. 6 appearances in a Tottenham shirt in the Premier League. Scored 2 goals, got 3 assists. When you look at Lucas, and like Lucas will always be a bit of a legend. I'm not saying he's going to get a statue, but he will be a bit of a legend. He loves us. Coming Spurs, coming Spurs, coming Spurs, coming Spurs. He is Spurs. He is very passionate. And when he has a good game, he has an absolutely brilliant game. And the Ajax game, of course, is testament to that. But he's played 23 times this season. He scored 2 goals and 4 assists. Now, that's just, compared to Decky, he's got 2 goals and 3 assists in 6 appearances. Lucas has played 4 times as many games as Decky, and the goals and assists are virtually exactly the same. So I think it's testament to Decky that he's actually come in and just hit the ground running straight away. And he's gone, this is my shirt. You have to get it off my back now. And again, that can only be a good thing. One of the comments earlier is, let's hope Lucas can actually start to up his game. Because again, if he does, that can only be a good thing for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, can't it?
Yeah, Nino makes me laugh. Decky can cross, and this is beautiful. No, it is. It really is beautiful.
It is. Like his left foot, his left wand on some free kicks.
Yeah.
For all Kane, and I'm sure we're going to get to him, but for all Kane's sumptuous passes, sumptuous finishes, the fella can do anything. He cannot take a free kick. No. So that's what Decky can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's leave Dyer to it. Let's give Dyer a little run in it. He took a good one against Middlesbrough. He didn't score, but let's let Dyer look over it. Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely. Talking about Harry Kane, it was a 5th goal for Spurs, and to be fair, again, Matt Doherty. I mean, how much of his involvement tonight? Plotting a lovely ball over the top to Harry Kane, who met it with a perfect low volley past Pickford, and at that point, Spurs. I mean, I think we're all thinking it's going to be 7 or 8 or 9. It was just, relentless from Tottenham. It was so great to see Spurs come out of the second half and really, even still hit the accelerator. But Lee, Harry Kane, again, as we touched upon there, the quality of Kane's finishing, just magnificent, wasn't it?
Oh, it's just sumptuous, and I just use that word. It is absolutely magnificent, and I love him. It's so difficult. I can't say anything else. Rob C puts in the comments, "What a finish!" I actually wrote on the WhatsApp group, "What a ball!" I mean, I couldn't believe what Doherty was doing tonight, pinging around some Perlo balls or whatever. But Harry Kane, he's just looking at it. He's coming over his shoulder, and bang, he's hit it. And it's got, left foot, right foot. He scores with headers. He scores goals inside the box, outside the box. He pings goals. It's just unbelievable. Teddy said it tonight, didn't he? Teddy Sheringham on Monday Night Football. If you've seen it, he said he's the best number 9 in the world. I've been saying that, as most of us have, for years. And he's still only 28. He's still got his best years ahead of him. I thought that if you haven't seen it, hopefully it's on record, because all of you lot come back from the game, you're probably going to go and watch it again, because that's what most of us lot do. Go and watch the full match back. On M&F, the interview with Harry Kane afterwards was fantastic. They got the screen out. The screen that they normally batter him for. Why did you go down there? Or why did you
get a penalty? Yeah. Why didn't you get a penalty? Yeah.
It was that screen, same screen. But this time, man, they were obviously talking about his goals, the way he takes them, his finishing, and he was just outstanding. And Kane on form like that is just, when he got that ball, you just knew he was going to score, like 100% knew. I remember we went to Dortmund in the Champions League. I think it was the last round of 16. And we had to not lose. I think it was the second leg a few years ago, and we were getting absolutely battered. Do you remember? It might have been the first leg, actually. Getting absolutely battered, but defending, Hugo, bodies on the line, whatever. And then the ball broke to Kane, and you had absolutely no doubt in your mind. I think he picked up on the halfway line.
Yeah.
He knew he was going to score, 100%. And what did he do? Boom, of course he did. And that is just confidence. He's gone above Thierry Henry. No Arsenal fans in here tonight. Come on, pipe up.
Not just yet.
But look, I mean, Thierry Henry, let's have it right. He was an absolute world-class player, striker, number 10, loads of assists, loads of goals. He was amazing. Their greatest ever striker. Yet our one-season wonder has just gone past him in the goal-scoring charts, Premier League of all time. So there's nothing else I can say about Kane other than he's 28. He's one of our own. I'm absolutely adamant that he's signed a contract already. You know my views on that. You know where I am with that as well. I said it back in even the summer that he weren't going to City, and I think he's going to be one of our own, and I think he'll break all Premier League records in a Tottenham shirt. So fair play to me.
What is it now? I think Rixie's now become the 6th highest player in Premier League history with those goals this evening. I mean, like Lee says there, taking over Thierry Henry. So for some other landmarks for him, Lampard is next on 177. Then it's Aguero on 184. I mean, he could still, Kane, hypothetically overtake both of them this season. I mean, that's just some incredible player we've got there, isn't it, Harry Kane? We said before in terms of just how
good his
176.
170, and Aguero's what, 170, 184?
Aguero with 184.
Is that another 8
Lampard,
goals?
Yeah, it's 8 goals, so it could be done. I mean, Rick, anything more about Harry Kane you haven't said before on this show? I know you've always backed lyrical about him.
I mean, do you know what? It's really good to see this season. The change in him. At one point, all of us fans, we knew what was happening with the side. He knew it as a Tottenham boy. There was that speculation that he was going and he wanted to go, and the bids and the no bids and the not value, all of that palaver, all of that madness that was going on in his head. In the first half of the season, we didn't really see the Harry Kane that we knew. But as soon as Conte's turned up, little bit by little bit, we started to see the Harry Kane that we know and love, and to see him in full throttle tonight against Leeds, even Man City, my gosh, unbelievable against Man City. So we're starting to see that Harry Kane that we know and love, and it's not unlike Kane to bang 4 goals in one game. I don't know whether are we playing Leicester again this year? I'm not sure.
We are, mate. We are. We're coming, baby.
Well, there you go. Do you know what I mean? Like, how many times he loves scoring goals, like bag of goals against Leicester. So, with the bit between his teeth and something to fight for, Who can say he won't do it? Who can say that he can't climb those goal scoring charts? Who can say, man? Like, none of us can say, because Harry's one of a kind. And if what Lee's saying is true and he stays with us for the rest of his career, my gosh, have we got some good times ahead? Fingers crossed, anyway. But we've got some good times ahead if we continue building in this way, and with one of the great managers with Conte, who knows exactly what to do and how to motivate him and how to play him. You know, Big summer ahead.
Yeah, no, like I said, Kane simply unplayable tonight. And, you look at, some of the moments he had during the game. He set up Dyer with an opportunity, just an all-round Harry Kane
What a ball that was, by the way, wasn't it, Rick? What a ball to set up Dyer. I mean, Dyer hit the bar, didn't he? He was unlucky.
Yeah.
Just a little bit behind him on his head or whatever.
Yeah.
But
again, the vision, just incredible.
They always used to say that of Shearer. Shearer used to say that about himself, to be fair, that he was the best crosser of the ball because he knew where to put it, because as a striker, that's where you would want it. And you could see that in Kane tonight as well. And actually, after that interview on M&F, go and watch it, everybody. He actually said, actually, my passing tonight wasn't that good. He knows that he can pass better than that, and you just think that's something. You put the comment up earlier about Lewandowski and Kevin De Bruyne combination. Teddy said it tonight. Teddy Shannon said it tonight. He thinks he's better. Oh no, Jamie Carragher said it. He said he thinks he's better than De Bruyne, or as good as De Bruyne in terms of passing.
I think with Kane, and unless you're a Spurs fan, you watch him week in, week out, people will think we're crazy. But again, when you watch Kane over the course of a season and what he's done, and from where he's come from to where he is now. I don't think that's crazy to talk like that. And again, I think I think it's only being a Spurs fan when you watch the guy's progression that you acknowledge just how far he's come. He's incredible.
He's now scored 20 goals in all competitions every season now for 8 seasons on the trot. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. 270 Premier League appearances and 176 goals. I don't know what the ratio is, or the XG, or whatever the hell that everybody works it out now, but that is also absolutely incredible goal return. And considering this year he's got 10 Premier League goals after the season that he got last year, being top Premier League goal scorer and assist maker, and he started off, I think he hadn't scored a Premier League goal until November. He went nearly 3 months waiting to score in a Premier League goal.
This is what's mad, isn't it? When you think about how slow he starts all these seasons.
He's only 9 behind Salah. And I know 9 is a lot, don't get me wrong. But considering he never scored for the first 3 months, that is absolutely mental. I mean, his numbers they are actually mind. When you look at like Frank Lampard, who I know gets a lot of stick and whatever, and I probably shouldn't like him on the basis that he's Chelsea and West Ham, but I actually do like Frank, and I respected what he did in the game. I thought as a midfielder, I think Rob C put it on earlier as well, insane numbers to score 177 goals in midfield. But, he's a proper ledge. Yet Kane is about to overtake him, and he's still got 5 years, probably 4 or 5 years left at the top. It's insane. Absolutely insane number.
I agree with what Jay says on the screen there now in regards to Kane. We all want to now see a performance up against Man United that we saw against City. These are the games that we need Kane to step up. And I think that's absolutely spot on. Yeah. Nicky says there 20 goals in the last 8 seasons. I think City offered 75 million. They paid for Grealish. It's almost an insult, isn't it, really, when you think about that?
Again, Rick, so, and we won't go into that because we've spoke about it so many times on air and off air as well. But you're absolutely bang on. It is an absolute insult. And if I was Harry Kane, I would be sitting there saying to them like up the road, which actually, to be honest, I think he did in the performance that he put in
against City.
He did put one finger up it, didn't he? He said, "Are you having a laugh?" That's insulting that he didn't come in. You pay 100 million for Jack Grealish, but you wouldn't even go near me. It wouldn't even get near 100 million with me. I mean, disgrace. So,
and that's without the assists. That's without counting the assists and the player maker awards and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Ricks, it's funny, Ricks, when I obviously asked you about coming on for this game, your words were to me, the Dele Alli reunion. It's funny because ahead of the game, obviously, Dele didn't start, but obviously he was greeted with his song and a standing ovation from the Spurs fans when he did eventually come on the pitch. It was actually a lovely moment at the end. For those that didn't actually see it, I mean, Ali Gold obviously shared this. That Hugo Lloris took Ali over to say a proper goodbye to the Spurs fans, and Dele saluted the fans, and the home fans applauded him. Now it's funny because I don't know if anyone saw this. I think in the 40th minute, Dele was actually set to warm up by Frank Lampard. I think many might have thought he was going to bring him on at half time. it's such actually the fall of Dele that, I mean, when he came on, I mean, there was just nothing really there of a performance, and I don't really know what to say about Dele. It's again, it's an evening where he got such a incredible, salute from the Spurs fans and was applauded, but it's just a player that you think, God, what we had at one point. It's for me, it's quite sad with Dele. I don't want to spend too much time on it. We did so much on Dele when he was here, and now he's not here anymore. But any thoughts of it, Rick? Now a few months going on with Dele.
It's exactly what you said there, bro. Is exactly what I was going to say. It's a really sad situation. It's a really sad situation from the player that we knew, and for him destroying the league for the amount of seasons that he did, to see the drop. And, it looks like he's trying everything as well. It looks like, in the summer when he was still with us, in the summer he went off to Dubai and wanted to train and do extra training before pre-season training. And then Nuno trusts him for the first couple of games, and he's in and he's playing again and doing okay, but still not the Dele that we know and love. And then we have really bad performances in those 4 London derbies that we played back to back, and it was a nightmare. And then he's dropped out of the team, and then he's been asked to play different roles here, there, and everywhere. And goes to Everton. He gets to move. He gets to have a fresh start. Goes to Everton, and they start talking about his car and his hair. And then the next week he cuts his hair. To me, he's looking like he's trying to do everything to kind of get back to some type of player that he used to be. But it's just really tough for him right now. I think probably Lampard should have a good influence on him. It's just it was sad. I mean, to see him today on that field, to see Harry Kane tackling him, and it was an easy challenge because Dele was standing still. He wasn't moving no more than a mile an hour. Do you know what I mean? And so Kane comes in and kind of slide tackles, takes the ball. And we're on a counter again, or we're on a move.
It's like a ghost of the player that was there, Rick, isn't it? I don't know how to describe it.
Is. And do you know what? He looked a bit emotional. I feel that he didn't want to show it because obviously he's got the
definitely.
Everton
I totally
badge.
agree with you, 100%.
He's got the Everton shirt on and the Everton badge on his chest. But when that song was sung, that was sung by every single person in there, and at least he knows how much we loved him and how much we wanted him to kind of come back to his best, but how much we wish him well as well. So I really do hope for his sake that, he gets back to some type of form, if not the end of this season, next season. But they've got a relegation battle to fight for. So hopefully if he gets a start and he can get some motivation, and he's not playing naturally no more, Ricks. He's not playing naturally no more. Everything used to be off the cuff.
It's like a weight on his shoulders, isn't it? So he's carrying around so much baggage there. It's really difficult. I mean, Lee, listen, I know same as you with Ricks. I mean, Lee, you was one of his biggest defenders until the very end. So I know you love Dele Alli. When you watch him tonight as an opposition player, how weird is that? And what did you make of a real subpar performance from Dele in which he came on for the second half and didn't really make an impact?
Well, I'm a big defender, actually, 6'2" at the back, left back in the dressing room, typically back in my football days. Well, he was woeful. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Tonight he came on the pitch, he was woeful. I think it got to him. I think he was still playing halfly for Tottenham. Rich, you mentioned about, the sliding challenge by Harry and, that sort of thing, which was brilliant. He had the design, determination, and Dele just walked about the pitch. I've got massive affection for the lad because of what he did for Tottenham, but he's not on loan. He's gone there, and that's it now, done. So happy days. We move on, but for him, it's a shame. I don't know what happened to him. Something switched in his life or in his mind. I've said this before on the show, so I don't want to keep going back on what I say. But for those who haven't heard it, one of my key mentors said to me once, if you peak too early, the only way that you're going is down, because you've already hit your peak. And it felt like to me that Dele hit his peak at 23. That is absolutely crazy if you think about it, or 22, 23, and now all he can do is his career, unless he finds another form, and there's still time because he's only 25, but all it can do is kind of go downwards, because he's hit his peak so early. I mean, he's at Everton now. They're 1 point, correct me if I'm wrong, above relegation zone. So they want a proper, as Rick's just said, a proper relegation scrap, and that's where his career's gone. And I think it was said in the comments as well. He's on the bench tonight to a team which got absolutely ruined 5-0, and he still couldn't even start that match. So yeah, I feel bad for him, but at the end of the day, PTM mentions in the comments there, Wayne Rooney peaked young. No, he didn't peak, did he? Because if he's peaked, the only way is that you can go down. Like you haven't peaked unless you peaked, have you? So you can't peak and then peak and then peak, can you? Your peak is the top that you've ever been, and then you can go down. So Wayne Rooney was always on the rise. He was always on the rise.
Yeah, from Everton onwards.
He's on the rise now. He's on the downward climb. So it looks like he's peaked.
Boys, you were saying about 23 there with Dele. Do you remember that? Do you remember that interview he done as a 23-year-old, and he said something along the lines of, "I can't do what I used to do in my younger days," or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So I think you're absolutely spot on there, Lee.
Something switched. Something
switched. I don't know what happened, but I remember hearing that, and I was like, "He's 23. What's he talking about? He can't do what he done in his younger days." Like, what was that? What's he talking about when he was 12? Like, what's he talking about?
No, exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. I weren't being rude to PTM, by the way. I was just saying, Cole Allgood says there's no peak beyond the peak. You can't peak beyond the peak, can you? Because it's the top of the mountain, right? So, and when Dele, you're right, Rich, when Dele's coming out and saying at 23, oh yeah, I can't do what I used to be able to do. I think maybe it was alluded to in the comments again about hamstrings or the injuries that he's had or something like that. But at the end of the day, he was almost talking like a 33-year-old when he said that. Crazy. I mean, gosh, one of the legends of our game, of our football club, the fantastic Ledley King used to play with one bloody knee. You know what I mean? So, that's a weird thing to say. But look, I wish him well. There's no bad feeling about Dele Alli, but we were right to move him on. Just like we were right to move on Giovanni Lo Celso, just right that we were to move on
Ndombele.
And also just right that we move on Hill. I know Hill's playing really well, but that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I agree with Ali Gold here, maybe we should have pushed him to another Premier League club so that he could get the experience of the English game. But I actually think that Paratigi's bought him like he bought Weston. Is it Weston McKennie? No, who's the guy? Was it Weston McKennie? He bought him and then he put him straight out back on loan, or he sold him for 30 million quid or something like that to a German team, and then bought him back. He's done that as an investment piece. I don't think Brian Hill will ever play for Tottenham properly. I actually don't think he will. John, one of our own from Lily White Rose, said keep loaning him out, get his value up, get him playing really well, and then someone will buy him. I think if you put a value of 15, 16 million on Eric Lamela plus the 25 million that we pay for Hill, what's that? 41 million, 40 million, something like that in and around. We'll get that back in the transfer fee. If he explodes in La Liga, we probably will. So them 4 players going out of the football club was absolutely the right decision, like 100%.
We obviously say that. I've got again those players deemed to a loan. They will listen. Let's just hope they're doing their very best to earn a move away. I think bar Hill. I think many will want to see Hill obviously try and succeed at Spurs. But again, the likes of Tunyon Ndombele, as we said, Lo Celso, Dele Alli, who has obviously gone on a perm just to confirm. Although it looks like Everton at the moment won't be paying for a fee for the player. Bearing in mind he's obviously not going to be starting those 20 games to trigger it.
Is that just this season, or does that continue into next season in terms of that transfer?
From what I understood, it was going to be this season. So Everton he's gone on a free transfer. Yeah.
Wow.
That's as far as I understood it.
Wow.
Again, the full way, the full. Guys, just touching upon the defence, conscious of time. Romero, coming over to you, Rick, worked really hard tonight, defending well against the Everton side. I think sometimes that you can overanalyze an opposition too much, how poor Everton was. But Romero tonight, I think again showed his quality, showed his class. We saw at half time he loves to get involved in an argument. Nothing to do with him. Straight over there pushing the players. But I've got to say that, Romero, listen, as we've said about the likes of Bentancur and Kulusevski's just fitted in so well. And I think as a signing in terms of recruitment, definitely we've done really well. Then also Eric Dyer, stopped everything that came his way. What have you made of that set about pairing Rick? We must be very pleased about how they're working. And again, Ben Davies playing well.
I'm loving it. I know Ben Davies is your favourite player, Rick, but But no, I'm loving it, mate. I think
6 out of 10
even-
tonight, Rick. 6 out of 10. Ben
Oh,
Davies.
definitely 6 out of 10 tonight. He's got a clean sheet, the bloke. Come on. Come on.
Oh my gosh. No, Romero is I think we need that bit of fight. I need that. I think we need a bit of that kind of niggle, that aggression, a bit of kind of that proper will to win. You know, when you put everything out there, he's putting his head, his heart, his legs, everything. He's doing everything that he can do, and not only to kind of get himself going, but to get the players around him going. Building up a great relationship with Dyer right now, and even with Davies there, little bit by little bit. Like I was saying there earlier, they're beginning to trust each other. They're beginning to understand each other's games, and I think it's a fantastic signing, Romero, for us. And even him, he's only just started. He's only just begun. He hasn't even hit the levels that he's ready for. Do you know what I mean? He's only just jumped into the team under Conte, had a couple of games under his belt. You know, there's so much more to come from Romero, so much more, and I love that we signed him. Well, we haven't. That's another one, isn't it? We haven't.
It's another one. It's an obligation to buy. So I mean, I think the actual deal structure is in place. Talk about deal structure. I must have said Dele Alli. I think as I will be stand to be correct. I think Dele, that will involve next season in terms of the 20 games. So you think with Everton he will reach 20 games. So just to be correct on that. But yeah, Rick, in terms of Romero, as far as I understand it, that is an all but foregone conclusion. I mean, only Spurs could mess this up, by the way.
In it. No, but perfect. But like somebody like Romero under Conte, what a beautiful balance right there. What a beautiful relationship that's beginning to build there. Yeah. If we can get one more in the summer, maybe two, I mean, we could be flying. Flying.
Yeah, there's no doubt how much. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say a quick thing on Hill. I got a feeling, like you were saying there, Lee, that he's gone back to Spain to find his form, to get him back on track, to get some games under his belt. I think maybe next year he might be loaned out to an English side for him to get that robustness, because he did admit that his physicality in it, and you know, he found it difficult in playing in England and in the Premiership. So he's doing well out there. I really do wish him well. But either which way, like the both of you boys were saying there, if he smashes it and continues to smash it, then his value, especially as a young player, that could go to 50, 60, 70, 80. They paid 100 million for Jack Grealish. Do you know what I mean? So you just never know. Either which way, it's going to be a good thing for us. But I do hope that he can come back and kind of go to an English side and then build up his physicality and then do something for us.
Yeah, just very quickly, Lee, we had some comments in about Romero, just in terms of having to find that balance. He does walk a very tightrope, really. I mean, we saw Conte bring him off early in that second half. He was on a yellow card, obviously just saving that Man United game. Any concern, Lee, just in terms of that aggressive nature, or do you think that makes him the player that he is?
I love it. Absolutely love it. It's exactly what we need in the side, to be honest.
Exactly.
We had Jan Vertonghen, who was a Rolls Royce of a defender, and next to him we had Toby Alderweireld, who was a Bentley. Right, we had a Bentley and a Rolls Royce, and they just used to grace us with their Rolls and their Bentleys, and it was fantastic. Do you know what Romero is? Do you know what Romero is? He's a Mercedes-Benz G63 6x6. That is what he is. He is an all gung-ho tackling. Go and have a look if you don't know what a Merc G63 is, right? It's 6x6. It's the six-wheeler thing that Mercedes have bought out, a G63. Amazing luxury vehicle, but it is like a tank. And that is what he's like. He for me, does not care. He is luxury, he is brilliant, and he's also really aggressive. And we haven't had that before for a long time, actually, for a long time.
So it doesn't worry you, Lee, that doesn't worry you at all? That comes with the territory, right?
I think if you're asking me, if you're pressing me to say, do you think he might get sent off? Yeah, I do. I think he might do, right? I think that he's got bookings in him. But I think that's what we also need as well. I think that we need to have that in this. And I think Davinson Sanchez potentially could get sent off, but maybe because he falls on his face. Whereas actually Romero gets sent off because he's taken out Richarlison's legs. I mean, I know which one I'd rather have in that aggression piece. I don't think I know the game is virtually going to a non-contact sport, but I think aggression in the right way is very, very good. I think it's very, very good. I really do like him. I have been critical of Romero though recently, because I think, in the air, and he gave away the penalty against Man City. He gave away the goal, in my opinion, against Burnley. Got stuck underneath him, and like somebody said earlier, that Son is not immune to criticism. We should be able to criticise Son, and I agree. I agree with the comment. To be fair, Romero's the same, but I do love his aggression. I do. I think we're all waiting for Dyer and Romero and Davies. So they're not a partnership, right? It's not Dyer and Romero. It's a triple. Like they're together, all three of them, and they're coming together as a package. And for the most part, when they've played together, we haven't conceded that many goals. Like, yes, we lost to Middlesbrough, and yes, we lost to Burnley, but we lost by 1 goal. Yes, we conceded 2 goals against Man City, but it's Man City. So, I think, and we've kept a couple of clean sheets on the spin now in the Premier League as well. So I do like Romero for sure. So look it up. G63 6 that is Romero, mate, 100%.
Every time he has got a yellow card, though, he has shown composure not to go over the top again.
Yeah, he seems to manage himself really well, Rick, doesn't he, on a yellow? Yeah, which again is a good trait. Just to finish off, guys. Again, a player. Well, 2 of our midfielders, Rick's Højbjerg. I thought really put in a decent performance tonight. Was covering a lot of ground on the pitch, and of course, Bentancur back in the Spurs side. I mean, talk about composure. Someone that just seems to make things tick. A couple of really nice crunching tackles in there as well. I mean, just top class, wasn't he, Rick Bentancur? And it worked really well, that partnership with Højbjerg next to him.
Yeah, and it's building, and it's only just begun. Do you know what I mean? But everyone, including Conte, everyone in the side, in training, they're seeing what these boys are bringing. They're not just coming here to earn their money every week. They're not just coming here to kind of get their Bentleys and their Rolls and their G6s and all the rest of it. They're here to kind of do something, to make a statement, to play football, to do it with passion and aggression and intelligence. And Bentancur is dynamite. The first time I saw him come on for those 15 minutes, the first thing he was on the edge of the box in defense, and he got out of about 3 players surrounding him with like 2 quick twinkle toe touches, and he was gone again. He doesn't only just do that. When he does that, he's got the intelligence to see the runners, to see his teammates. He's not just whacking it out up the field and hoping. He knows what he's doing. And this is just the beginning with Bentancur. Just the beginning with him and Højbjerg as a partnership. We've still got Skippy to come back. We don't know what he's going to look like with Skippy and Bentancur. That could be fantastic as well. So right now, at this business end, with only the Premiership to concentrate on, this could be the time that the side starts clicking. And if that's the case, oh my gosh, then it could be a really lovely end to the season for all of us.
Well, it needs to be, Rick. Let's be honest.
It needs to be, yeah.
The time, because I know we're putting kind of a lot of eggs in the basket of it's a bit of a pre-season, and next year, and all that sort of stuff. But under this this board, under this stewardship, under this custodian of Daniel Levy and Ink, we always do say, there's always next year. It's always that, isn't it? Like at some point, it's got to be what's happening this year. Do you know what I mean? What's going to happen this year? So I think Bentancur has been absolutely outstanding, like literally brilliant. And I think you're both right. The 2 Rickies, double Rick tonight. I've been double Ricked. I think with Højbjerg looks like a different player alongside Bentancur. I think you're absolutely spot on. And some of the touches, I think I tell you what it is for me: either confidence or that assurance that he can do something and get out of a tight situation. He's not afraid to try something. He still gives the ball away. He gave the ball away outside the penalty area tonight in the second half. But he even in the Man City game, I noticed that when Romero gave away the penalty, he's still done some sort of like Cruyff turn in the to get away from in the penalty area, to get away from the attacker at the time before the penalty was given. And you just look at them little touches and you think he's class and he's got something.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, again, listen.
Sorry, Rick, because obviously he's your football ganger, right? So you can't keep bigging him up because it's like bigging yourself up. Like, come on, son. No, but just quickly to add as well, when you look at the way the team's set up tonight, Everton are playing a 4-3-3, right? So you've got 3 in the middle of the park, and Tottenham are playing 2 in the middle of the park, essentially, because you've got your wing backs that are, they're playing as a 4 across the middle, but they're actually not, are they? They're up and down. So actually, to really control that game, what we did tonight with 3 versus 2 was testament to Højbjerg and Bentancur.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I won't say much on the right because it does feel weirdly picking him up.
He's been good though, anyway, Rick. To be fair, Ricky said
he has been.
Yeah, good looking bloke. Right, we'll leave him there. Guys, we have got another show that we're bringing you later in the week to preview Man United in a bit more detail, but I just want to end it on a Conte quote just to get Lee and Rick's thoughts. So Conte said, "I put this target to my team. We have to stay until the end, very close to the top teams and do something important. To finish in the top 4, as we mentioned earlier, would be like winning the Premier League or Champions League this season." Now, guys, I know we've kind of avoided this subject for the last hour and 40 minutes now. I think there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment around Conte's long-term future. And obviously there's the season ticket renewals that we'll touch upon more in our show later in the week. Lee, judging by that performance, I mean, again, so much speculation, conjecture around whether Conte's going to be here next season. You feel that if he's laying down a gauntlet to the players, they seem to believe on the back of, that target being set that he's very much still invested. Do you feel he's still invested, Lee?
Yeah. Do you know what? I was driving home from the office earlier when we obviously didn't make the game, so I was late, and I was actually having a conversation with myself, like actually out loud. It's so ridiculous. I can't even believe I'm telling the world this way, but it was on this very subject because it really, really annoys me. Like, it makes my blood boil when I hear some of the quotes. Or some of the things that Conte said that ended up being misquotes, either paraphrased by other journalists or by Twitter itself. Not even by journalists, actually. Let's have it how it is. It's just some randoms on Twitter, who I'm a random on Twitter as well, by the way. But some people on Twitter just paraphrasing, going, "Oh, he's going to leave, he's going to go," and then that's the rumours that start. It makes my blood boil because there's no smoke without fire. I think I've learned, I'm old enough and ugly enough to know that. So I'm not naive enough to think that everything's rosy in the garden. But I also do think that he is constantly reminding us that this is what his narrative has been. From day one, his narrative has been, I need time, we need to fix this, we need patience, but we also need to change. We need to eradicate 20 years of pain, of doing things in a ridiculous way, recruiting in a stupid way, like all of these things. I know I'm completely paraphrasing now, but he's basically said all of this stuff. And what generally happens when it comes out into the media and out into the world of YouTube and Twitter and everything else is that we all have our own take on it, and that's the beauty of social media. And it's the beauty of the world that we live in today. But the problem with that, of course, is that it starts to do everybody's head in, because after every defeat, he can't be like off his tits, and then after every win, can't be like off his tits. Like, there has to be some sort of in between, a little bit like what Jay says. Don't get carried away over win. Don't get carried away over loss. Somewhere in between. And I think the last couple of press conferences, Conte's almost been like that. But when you take it up to when you talk about is he going to be around for the next year, the facts that we all know are, he's signed an 18-month contract, okay? So he's only got 1 year left on his contract when this season finishes. That is factual as we sit here and talk today. What's also factual, and I thank the great Ali Gold for this, because he said this on his video post Middlesbrough, but under 20 years of reign of an Inc, we have had 21 managers. Sorry, we've had 12 different managers, right? That is a manager less than a season. Every 2 years.
Every season. Yep.
That is absolutely ridiculous. And when you put into perspective that Pochettino was there for 5.5 years, it's even worse. So fundamentally, something has to change at the club from the top all the way down. And we need to make, when I say we, I'm not nothing to do with the club. And bearing in mind, there's a load of people that watch this channel that think that we get freebie tickets and we get paid by the club. And I mean, it's literally laughable. You come and ask my kids and my wife if I get absolutely anything from the football club. Generally, you honestly, you're on a different planet, you lot. But so I don't work for club, don't have anything. But something has to change from the top of the club, and they need to make a decision. We as a club, as football, as Tottenham, have to make a decision to say this is the direction we are going in. And if that is Conte, you whack a 5-year contract on the table for him, and you say, what do the media use? War chest. They love that, don't they? It's a big war chest, right? So give him a war chest, give him a 5-year contract, and say, sort us out and make us the best team on the pitch that you can make us. Because at the moment, we're in a situation where we are up and down, up and down, up and down. Conte's moves up and down, up and down, up and down. The club right at the top. When I say the club, I'm talking about the board. The people that are making the key decisions. They don't know what they want. They can't make their mind up. And I mean that with the greatest respect, because they're brilliant people in what they do and so on and so forth. But equally, you can't have 12 managers in 20 years and think you know what you're doing, because you don't, So that always comes down. So the recruitment of managers, the recruitment of the players, the recruitment around the football club has been absolutely woeful from top to bottom. And when you think about it, this is also a football club going back under the likes of Harry Redknapp, under the likes of even Villas-Boas, under the likes of Mauricio Pochettino. We've had some outstanding players for this football club. Jermaine Defoe, Peter Crouch, Modric, Lloris still there, Jan Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Dembele, nearly said Undembele, Dembele, Bale. And look, the list goes on and on and on. Robbie Keane, Jermaine Defoe, Michael Dawson, Ledley King, whatever. And we've won 2 trophies. 1 trophy under. It's not good enough. And somebody somewhere needs to make a decision at the top to say, this is the direction that we're going in and this is what we're doing. Because what we can't do, Rick, and sorry for the rant, and I appreciate that you wanted to get off now, but what we can't keep doing is looking for short-term desperation fixes. And what I found very, very interesting, and this is why I don't think Antonio Conte is going anywhere, is last night when Gary Neville and Roy Keane were taking, along with the other Sky people, were taking basically the mick out of us, saying, oh, it's only Tottenham, Man United will win. Well, firstly, I hope any Tottenham people are watching this now and they stick that all over the dressing room and all the old cliches, because they actually think just by turning up, they're going to beat us. So make sure that's not obviously the case. But the point I wanted to make was Gary Neville was absolutely adamant that Manchester United didn't go for Conte and won't go for Conte and don't want Conte because it's a short-term manager and they want a long-term manager. So if that's the case, here's the thing. Pochettino goes to Manchester United after whatever happens at PSG. Conte potentially could go to PSG. But why would you go for Conte when you've got a Parisian and Zinedine Zidane, who's already won the Champions League? And Conte's record is outstanding. He's never won a European trophy, right? He got to a final, but he's never won one. So why would you go for Conte when you could actually have Zidane, who's from Paris, PSG, blah, blah, blah? Then, so where does Conte go? He ain't going to Real Madrid because Ancelotti's about to win La Liga with Real Madrid himself in his first season back. He ain't going to Barcelona because Barcelona have got their prodigal son in terms of their manager there now. He's not going to go to another English side unless he goes to Arsenal. And Arteta at the moment has got the top 4 bank. Manchester United don't want him. City, Chelsea, they don't need him. Liverpool, they don't need him. So he ain't going to go to another Premier League club. So I'm not saying that Conte's not good enough to get another job. I'm not saying that. But where's he going to go? Inter Milan, by the way, are top of the league. And he don't work there anymore. And he said specifically, I always leave my teams in better shape than when I left, when I had them and they make more money and they go on to win. And he's bang on right. So he ain't going to go back to Inter. He ain't going to go to AC Milan. He's not going back to Juventus because Allegri's there. Do you see where I'm going for this? So for everybody said, he's going to walk. Where's he going? So I do think that there's a bit of balance needed in where we are. But as a football club, just to summarise, we need to turn around and say, this is our stake in the ground. This is where we're going. This is what we're after. Conte's the man to lead the crazy train. Is a 5-year contract. Off we go. It is a 300 million war chest over the next 18 months, over the next 2 transfer windows. let's crack on, because we've got Newcastle. I mean, Abramovich obviously selling Chelsea. We don't know what's going to happen there. Is that going to plummet? We don't know. But Newcastle are definitely on the rise. They ain't going down now, so they're going to be a Premier League club next season. They're going to absolutely splash the cash. Manchester United are going to have another manager. They're going to splash the cash. So we're up against it.
We're all going to have to improve, aren't we? Every club will be improving. Yeah. Rick, also, I mean, a great passion there from Lee. Great speech. And again, lots of people agreeing. Lots of Conte on job seeker now, and somehow I think he's all right with the payoff he's getting from Spurs at the moment in terms of the wages. Rick, to close it with you, just quickly on Conte now, as you know, we visit an evening where Spurs have won 5-0. Where are you on his future, Antonio Conte, long term?
Well, I mean, you said quickly, so I might have to apologise for rant number 2. Right there we go. But a couple of things. Okay, so 18-month contract. It's an 18-month with an additional or an optional 12-month on top of that as well, right? But the 18-month contract allows Conte and Tottenham both get out clauses. Now, if Tottenham do not back Conte with the funds or with the things that they said they were going to do, he can then say, all right, cool, fine. You guys go on about your business and I'll go on about mine. If it goes the other way and Conte becomes toxic, there's only an 18-month deal there. He can be sacked, and the compensation is still going to be big, but it's not going to be as big as it would be on a 5-year contract at this moment. But with Conte, I think we've got to think about him a bit like Kane, right? Kane was going, ever since he's won season wonder, he was going every season. The papers, Twitter, everyone, apart from Tottenham fans, were saying that he was going to go, he should go, he was going to go, he should go. Right. So he hasn't gone nowhere. He's still wearing the shirt. So while Conte's wearing the shirt, let him wear the shirt. While he's doing the job, let him do the job. But let me tell you something, to every single Tottenham fan out there. Conte, at some point, will leave. He's going to leave. It's in his DNA. It's in his trait. Even if he goes on holiday for a year and then a job arises, and then he can take that big job, whatever job that may be, he's happy to do that, all right? So at one point, he's going to leave. Now, whether we don't back him and he wants to leave, or whether he wins the league for us, that might be enough for him to be like, okay, great. Well, it's my time to leave. I'm going to go over to this side. I'm going to go get some sun in Spain or something like that. The only difference is right now is that it's very similar to Pep. Pep Guardiola was this same type of, it was described as the same type of manager that only goes somewhere for 2-3 years, wins everything that he can, changes the whole game, and then moves on. The only way that can change, if we want him as Tottenham fans and as the club, if we want him to stay for longer than those periods, if we want him to stay for 3 seasons to 5 seasons, then we as a fan base have to seduce him in the sense of when we're dipping on the field, we need to roar. We need to make that noise in the stadium and back that team, because that's what backing Conte is backing his system, backing his tactics, backing what players he's put out onto the field. And if we can do that, and when they're having a dip, to roar them forward, to pick them up, he's going to go, wow, look at this crowd. He's already said he doesn't deserve the Antonio song that he wanted to make us proud with that FA Cup. Obviously, it didn't go the way that we wanted it to go. But he's already recognized how much love. He knows that we love him already. And the thing is, it's okay to love him. Just don't fall in love with him. Because he's not Pochettino. So he's not going to love us the same way Pochettino. He's not going to cry for us, I don't think. Do you know what I mean? He's going to show all the passion, all the love, and everything else. And he's going to give it to us. So it's up to us to roar them on when they're dipping, and to roar them on when they're winning. And he will look at us and be like, wow, maybe I can actually be the architect of the best cathedral in this whole Premier League. Maybe I can actually be here on the ground level and build something from the ground up in my image, with all the power that everyone's given me, with all the kind of choice and the money that everyone's given me to get this player, that player, and make the real big decisions in this club. Maybe that's what I want to stay with. Maybe I'm done with kind of jumping from club to club. If we as fan base are giving him everything, and the board are giving him everything, and he's getting everything that he needs, well, then maybe he'll stay. But let me tell you something, whether we don't back him as a fan base or as a board or as a club, or whether he wins the league, at one point, he will leave. So stop worrying about it. Enjoy him while he's wearing a shirt. Enjoy it while he's managing and doing the job. And let's back him. Let's us as a fan base back him with our voices and with our passion and with our hearts when they're high and when they're low. And who knows what can happen tomorrow. And also, last thing, boys, both of you work too damn hard. All right, both of you, Lee, Ricks, you work too damn hard. You should get some free tickets. Tottenham, send these boys some free tickets because the amount of time that they put in to Last Word on Spurs, speaking about Spurs, giving us all therapy, not only just at the high times, but at the low times too. They deserve a couple of tickets. So Tottenham, someone speak to Tottenham and get these boys some free tickets for goodness gracious. Do you know what I mean? What's going on here?
Bless you, Ricks. Well, I've got to say that.
Say what I was about to say then, just in case some free tickets come. I'm just about to batter Spurs' board, but I won't bother now.
I must. Two really impassioned speeches there about Antonio Conte. I think that's the right way to end things. Listen, it's been a night on which we've seen Spurs, really thump Everton emphatically by 5-0. Before we go, Ricks, tell us what's in the diary. Anything coming up we should be made aware of with you at the moment? Of course, can we go and watch Princess Switch Free? We can still watch Princess Switch Free, can't we?
Of course you can. It's on Netflix. It's always there. So Princess Switch 2, Princess Switch 3 is always there for you. But yeah, there's not too much I can say, but I've just been penciled for something. So if everything goes well, fingers crossed, I can announce something for the boys and everyone else. But we'll see. Right now, it's a pencil. That can mean, it means nothing. It means nothing. It just means I've got to wait a little bit longer to hear an answer, but we'll see. But yeah, auditioning, keeping busy. And when there's something exciting to let you know, I will let you know.
Appreciate it, Ricks. Lots of love for you in the comments. Thank you so much, as always. Pleasure having you back on Last Word on Spurs. Looking forward to having him back later in the season. Lee, let's come over to you. You've also got a podcast out at the moment. Tell us a little bit about that, Lee, as we close the show.
So many bloody podcasts, isn't there, to be fair? It's called In the Line of Hire. As most of you know by now, if you don't, then go and Google me. But I did win The Apprentice back in 2008. An amazing win. And I've done a podcast now that's reviewing the class of 2022 for this year's series. We've had some fantastic guests on, 9 episodes now down, so you can go and catch up on Audio Boom because it goes out as an audio and or YouTube. Phoenix 51 is my platform, and that is the channel that you need to go and subscribe to. But we've had 8 winners and a finalist on there, so absolutely brilliant, top draw guests. We've got 4 shows left before it finishes, and we've got some spiky guests coming on, some of which are from this year's show actually. So we've got some fantastic stuff coming up. So if you want to get involved, just follow me at Lee McQueen, and you'll see all the details on there. So fantastic.
And what day do you drop the? What day do you drop the?
Oh yeah, it's a good idea.
Typically time or what?
Yeah, typically they drop on a Monday afternoon, so live on a Monday afternoon at 4:30. So it's a couple of days after it actually happens. But we're going to do a final preview show as well. It's going to come out different. So if you want to look at the times and all that, come and follow me at Lee McQueen. But can I also just say that the interaction with this show is just absolutely outstanding. Like, thanks Ricks for bigging us up and stuff. But Ricky Sachs does all the hard work. He puts all the shows together. The group of lads and Anna and the girls that we've got behind the scenes and whatever that working is absolutely superb. And I absolutely thoroughly enjoy doing this. And it's midnight, man. So Jace will be like watching the cricket. But the reality is we absolutely love it. And I have to big up Chris Cowling's show as well. Because
Love to Chris.
Between us, just absolutely loving what we're doing. It is a show for the fans, and if it isn't for the fans, then we don't have a show, do we, Rick? Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, no, spot on.
All the questions, all of the interaction, and all that sort of stuff. And if you don't follow me, then I'll take that back next week. I'm only joking. All I would say is like the show, press the like button.
Subscribe.
Let's get over 800 likes, man, because this is just...
Get your NordVPN. Last Word on Spurs, the code.
By the way, generally, I have got NordVPN off the back of that, and it is fantastic. It
is good.
Subscriptions that you can save on and that. It's worth doing. You get premium YouTube, well cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you. Right, guys, honestly, been a real pleasure. We are back with you on Thursday for a preview of Man United to come. What a big game we've got for that. And we're doing, obviously, a live Last Word on Spurs Saturday night where we've got Lee McQueen back for, again, hopefully a big win. Rick's back with us later in the season. We're looking forward to having him back on as well. So from Rick, from Lee, from myself.
Mess it up.
Come on. Come on.
We'll be back with you on Thursday evening. From Ricks, from Lee, myself, guys, please keep safe. Please keep well. Thank you so much for all your comments tonight. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you